Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Melanie Cassar, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander David Sher. We warmly welcome the family of Lance Sergeant Athol Gervas Nagle, whose story will be told shortly. We also warmly welcome representatives from the 2nd 30th Battalion Association who are attending this evening. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lance Sergeant Athol Gervas Nagle. Athol Nagle was born on the 22nd of August 1909 at Canberra, New South Wales, the son of Richard and Winifred Nagle. Young Athol grew up in the old gold mining town of Kakawa, where he attended St Mary's School and Academy. He was regarded as a bright student, achieving his intermediate certificate and then his leaving certificate. In 1926 and 1927, Nagle served in the militia, parading part-time with the 53rd Battalion, known as the West Sydney Regiment. He went on to train as a teacher before receiving his appointment as a trainee teacher at the village of Bostabrick in New South Wales. And in July 1932, was formally appointed the teacher at the school. It was here he met his future wife, Isabel May Johnson, who was a teacher from Grafton. Athol married Isabel May Johnson, known affectionately as Maisie, on the 17th of December 1935. The couple went on to have two daughters, Isabel and Leonie, and lived in Bellingen, where Athol taught at Hydes Creek Public School. Athol Nagle enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 6th of September 1940. Joining a training battalion in Tamworth, he was initially allotted to the supply column of the Australian Army Services Corps. In November, however, he transferred to the newly established 2nd 30th Battalion, which had been raised at Tamworth, New South Wales, with men drawn from Dubbo, Goulburn, North Sydney, Randwick, Walgrove and Wagga Wagga. The first commander of the battalion, Lieutenant Colonel F.G. Blackjack Galligan, trained the men hard, and they became known as Galligan's Greyhounds. Part of the 8th Division's 27th Brigade, the 2nd 30th was the last AIF infantry brigade raised for service during the Second World War. At the end of July 1941, Nagle and his comrades sailed to Singapore on board the Dutch ship Johan van Oldenbarneveld as part of the convoy carrying the 27th Brigade. The battalion then went to Malaya and soon put what it had learnt into practice. Nagle's leadership qualities became apparent, and in December he was appointed acting corporal and then acting lance sergeant. Athol was also a prodigious letter writer. His letters to his wife and sister-in-law gave detailed accounts of his experiences and thoughts. Just before midnight on the 7th of December, Japanese forces landed at Singora and Patani in Thailand and Kota Bharu in northern Malaya. They fought against British and Indian troops until B Company of the 2nd 30th, of which Nagle was part, ambushed the Japanese at Geminche Bridge shortly before 4 p.m. on the 14th of January 1942. The rest of the battalion, located to the rear of this position, in front of the Gemmers on the Gemmers-Tampan Road, engaged the Japanese the next day. It was a brilliant ambush and the first AIF attack against the Japanese. The 2nd 30th suffered 20 killed or missing believed dead and 58 wounded. The Japanese casualties were thought to be about 1,000. The battalion had fulfilled its task of acting as a shock absorber and inflicting as many casualties as possible before falling back. But even with this success, there were losses. Nagle was killed in action during the ambush, lost during the first encounter between Australian and Japanese forces. He was 32 years old. With no known grave, today Athol Nagle is commemorated at the Singapore Memorial, which bears the names of over 24,000 casualties of the Commonwealth, Land and Air Forces who have no known grave. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lance Sergeant Athol Gervas Nagle, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and for your continued support during the memorial's redevelopment. We appreciate your visit today, despite the challenges posed by COVID, and we wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.